Sit!
Welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast, where we discuss dynasty strategy, rankings, and all things NFL. So get ready to geek out on fantasy football with your host, Rich Dotson.
And welcome to the Dynasty Nerds Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm Rich Dotson, here with my fellow nerds, Garrett Price.
How's it going?
And Jagger May.
Howdy, howdy.
Oh, that's a solid howdy do. Yeah, new show. You're looking at your feed, you're like, dude, what the hell is going on here? We got a Dynasty Nerds show coming out on Monday? Like, the week's not even over yet. Like, what's going around these parts, cowpoke? And you're like, yeah, well, here we are, and like Jagger May, like, who the hell is that? That's not Matt O'Hara. He's a new nerds content creator that we are happy to have aboard the team to work alongside a fellow co-analyst of ours that we will be doing more shows with. If you tuned into the Friday show, we have that Friday shows coming out, YouTube shows, so many different areas you'll be able to find Jagger May's content, written college stuff, podcast. We had some really good interactions at the FF Expo. I really enjoyed Jagger's explanations of how to play Dynasty. And I was like, man, this is something I really like to work with. So sometimes it's just sweet how serendipity works out. And here we are just like, a month later working together. So it's pretty dope, Jagger, to have you part of the team. So welcome there, first and foremost.
Glad to be here. And like I said, I'm not like you guys. If you're here for a lot of numbers, I'm not your numbers guy, but I do love some football, and I do. I'm your everyman's analyst here. So reeling like the rest of you on Monday. So
yeah, and I'll be every woman's analyst. So don't worry about that. I got you all covered. Yeah, we got you all covered. Come on, baby.
It's 2025 and I slip up like that.
You're good, man. So we are, if you read the title, this is a new show we're going to be doing every Monday. Like, it's basically risers and followers of the week, like instant reaction too. So it's like, hey, no time to really like sit back and think on long and hard about this. Let's look at the numbers. Let's use our expertise of our many years of playing Dynasty Fantasy Football and kind of see where we stand here, Garrett. So what are we looking at on a week in, week out basis over the next 18 weeks, essentially, of NFL football and how we're going to pop up on the feed on Mondays? Please, Garrett, explain.
Yeah, I would love to explain, Rich. So basically what we have going on here is we're taking a look at the players that changed value the most because of the given week. And the day before or the day of, I'll put a list out to Rich and Jagger and say, like, hey, here's some of the guys that I think either gained the most value or lost the most value this past week. Now, sometimes it'll be just due to how well they played. Sometimes it'll be due to someone in front of them being injured. Sometimes it'll be due to a change at a position or a new offensive coordinator or whatever it might be. There's always reasons where guys are going to gain or lose some value. We want to identify which guys were the ones that gained or lost the most value and why, and can we take advantage of that? And so this week we have 7 total players that are risers and 5 total players that are fallers. Now, there's more names than that overall, but we're going to only focus on the ones that we rated as the top 3 at each position. So we'll mention the other ones as well, but we're going to look at the top 3 at each position, why we ranked them the way we ranked them. And there might even be one of us at times that's like, I actually ranked this guy much lower than you guys did. Here's why I might not be as hip to this one as you guys are. We'll explain that as well. And then last but not least, we're going to cover the key injuries because those are things that do affect the value of players, their own value, but also the players around them. So we'll cover some of the key injuries at the end of the show, the ones that you need to know to get ready for your week.
Yeah, so it's important to remember the game of Dynasty is a game of windows, right? The game of windows of opportunity. And that opportunity is buy and sell windows. Buy high, sell low like a stock market. And that's what we're always looking for. In the
buy low,
offseason,
hold on, buy low and sell high, right?
However you want to say it, Garrett. Those are your words.
You want to buy high and you want to sell low, you can. It's just, it might not be prudent.
That's true. That is true. So, in the offseason, those opportunities, they come by: news, police reports, all kinds of fun things, new sign-ins, fire-ins, hire-ins, all those lines. But nothing presents those windows more than in-season play. When the feet hit the turf, that's where these windows come. And it's on you as a dynasty player to find and capitalize on those windows. And listen, sometimes when you're sticking a hand through that window to grab that nice piece of pie, that window could slam shut on that hand and cause severe damage. So they don't always work out, but it's about seizing those moments, those right buys, those right sells to really put yourself to find value, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for value on these shows, Garrett. So what window are we looking in first?
All right, well, let's start off with the guys that just missed the cut. So we have 4 guys that we did identify as like, hey, these guys really gained some value this week. If we were drafting again today, they would definitely be taken higher than they were before week 1, but they didn't quite make the cut of our top 3. Those guys are Kayshon Boutte, Quentin Johnston, Dylan Sampson, and Ja'Cory, aka Bill Krosky Merritt. All 3 of those guys with some really nice games, some good volume, more than we were expecting. So all of those are names that you kind of should be keeping an eye on, that people are going to be seeing as big-time assets. Now, sometimes a player might be a riser. That doesn't mean they're not a sell, though. So just because they're rising does not mean, hey, like you should get them. Sometimes it's they're rising. Capitalize on that now and get rid of them, because this might be the highest value they're at. So those are our top guys that didn't quite make the list. But let's start off with number 3 here. And Jagger, let us know what you think about this guy, Mr. Javonte Williams.
I was probably like one of the most highest on it, and it's because of what we all knew. We looked at the stats from last year from Denver, and we're like, maybe he's cooked. But if he goes to the Cowboys, we know that Jerry Jones wants to run the football, and that means that Schottenheimer wants to run the football, and they like to have their bell cow method, even though more and more of the NFL is moving. So I'm in on it, at least for the season, and especially for running backs, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So if I need something to help me win with RB2 value, I'm okay with Javonte Williams right now.
That sounds like you, Rich. Not here for a long time, but you're here for a good time on those running backs. You like those older guys in those short windows.
Yeah, man. Some of us came here to have a good time. Some of us came here to be a good time. And for me, running backs are always like, how do I capitalize on that position? And sometimes it's the one thing, even when I'm a contender, that I'm willing to be fluid on. And for Javonte, listen, I was one of those people that came out here and said last year, like, I think Javonte's cooked, right? Like, he doesn't look as explosive as he did pre-injury. And he did look a little bit more explosive this week. And we know that a running back, just by being a starter somewhere and getting all the touches, can be a solid running back 1, high-end running back 2, just from the volume. And that's encouraging for Javonte, because he was the guy there, especially with the Miles Sanders fumble. That's not going to be no bueno for him. We'll see if they activate Jaden Blue. But I'm going to go in this with, if I could possibly flip Javonte Williams into something of meaning, even maybe possibly take a step back in somebody's eyes. Maybe there's a dip on Dylan Sampson, a PPR running back out there in a league where I can get him for a plus. I'm probably looking to move, because this would be one of the situations, guys, where maybe the window slams on my hand and I'm wrong on this, but I am a little bit going to take a little step back here, because Javonte Williams had a really good week. I am not going to lie that. And he looked good in those opportunities he had. But when we look at it, they lost Jaylen Carter before the game start because he's a spitter and not a swallower. And we all know that, hey, if you're going to play that way, get out, right? Just go ahead and get out. You're not welcome around these parts. And with that, we saw the way that the Cowboys kind of want to take advantage of that. They attacked the A and B gap a little bit more because Carter wasn't there. But even then, like when he was playing in between the lines, Javonte averaged under 4 yards per carry. And also we saw him, with the touchdown situations, also elevated his point scale. And he had multiple carries there inside that red zone. And I don't know how you guys feel like, and I think one of those was like a CeeDee Lamb pass interference call, which got him inside there real early as well. Like, this is a team that I still expect without Micah Parsons, and the way they're going to play is begin playing from a negative game script. I don't know if Javonte Williams doesn't get as many of those red zone opportunities as he did, as we saw versus the Eagles. I don't think they'll be missing the best defensive tackle like they normally did. I think he's fine. But if people are going to be hyped, again, it's going to come from the lenses of people that would like love Javonte Williams. Like Garrett, I know you love Javonte Williams, right? So like, I know you'd be a great target to go out here and say, hey, dude, Javonte looked good, man. Probably running back, going to be a top 12 running back this year. Let's make a deal. Like, can I get DeAndre Swift? Plus,
and with that, I do think it is going to depend on where is the cost, because and what kind of lane you're in. If you're in a rebuilding situation, you are thrilled because this is the perfect opportunity to be able to sell an older running back, not crazy old, but older running back with a shorter shelf life that we are worried about what happens after this year. But if I'm a contender, I'm not as quick to the trigger to sell unless I get the right price. Because for me, I think this is the ultimate, like if I'm a contender and I have Javonte as probably my running back 4, I'm thrilled because I know I can put him in bye weeks and he's at least going to get the volume. And that's what's key for me here is Dallas seems to trust Javonte Williams 1 week. Who knows what could happen? But they seem to trust him not just in the running game, but they threw the ball to him as well. And we saw that he was actually a very effective pass catcher last year in Denver. That's really what even kept him somewhat fantasy relevant because on the ground, he did not do much, but he was good through the air. He's getting the goal line touches, so he's getting those valuable touches. And so for me, it all depends on what kind of window I'm in. If I'm in rebuild, yeah, I'm selling all day. I've already tried to sell probably. But if I'm in a contender window, I'm probably just going to sit pat because what are you going to get? Like best case scenario, a late second at this point?
Best case, yeah.
And I think that's best case, yeah. So I think I would rather just sit pat and know I have depth at running back for a championship run.
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh, sorry, Jagger. Get used to that, though. I speak over people too much.
He'll cut you off. It's his role.
Yeah, I have a lot of consistency there. So you guys right. Like I think a late second is what is going to be offered, and I'm instantly throwing that out the window. Like like late seconds don't even make one nipple hard, let alone both. Like I'm not interested there. But I am definitely have to. We'll see how week 2 goes. But like he's the kind of player. Like, hey, can I offer a first plus Javonte Williams to get an upgrade? Can I offer Javonte Williams in my second to somebody that needs some running back help for their first, like in those windows? And you're right, Garrett. If I need Javonte, right? Like if I need Javonte to compete, like I need Javonte. Like it's as simple as that. But like I would say most contenders went into the season not expecting Javonte Williams to be the backbone or even a shoelace to their
right.
contention.
And that's why I said you're running back 4 in a contender. Like he's your depth.
But that's the thing. Like I love to, like if I have a running back 4 that holds value after week 1, again, this is not a must move for me by any means. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that Javonte, but I am dipping my toes in the water to see if anybody else is real thirsty out there on him. Because again, I'm just a little concerned about the situation that he rose into, right? Those excessive red zone opportunities that he got, and the fact that Jalen Carter wasn't there and I kind of attacked that middle of field. So just a little bit of that makes me want to kind of see if I can, you know what I mean? It's no different than like Quentin Johnson, who we're not talking about, right? Quentin Johnson had a really big week. If any sucker out there wants to go ahead and give me some capital on Quentin Johnson, I would like, sometimes these windows, like we talk about, these windows they come and go. Like if Javonte Williams puts up a Kaleb Johnson game next week or something like, which is really hard to do, but something bad next week, that window of opportunity is completely shut. And I'm with you guys. A late second's probably the best you're going to get. I'm not settling for that, but I'm at least seeing if I can negotiate somewhere out there for Javonte, because I'm still not all in, and I'm not even. I'm 51% in. How about that?
Any final thoughts, Jagger, on Javonte before we move to number 2?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm where with you're at, Garrett, where I'm not like in love. I gotta go out and buy up all the Javonte, but this is kind of the builds that I do where I really want strong quarterbacks and pass catchers. And if I can get that hero anchor running back, give me the Javontes and the Trey Bensons in the world, and I'll figure it out week to week. And then as far as Jaden Bloom, who I know is going to be a big reason why people don't or want to flip Javonte Williams, I think it hurts Miles Sanders because like Javonte Williams, I was like, okay, he's in his Jamal Williams era. I can accept that. But Miles Sanders, there was like 15 yards between him and a defender, and someone caught him on like a wide open screen. I'm like, somebody needs to get homie a wheelchair and roll him out of there because he's done. Those are the Jaden Blue carries that I'm willing to accept, and it makes me feel okay about Javonte that they can coexist. But the big one that you said is like how you trade for him. If I needed Javonte, go flip Quentin Johnston. I was like, he may not be real, and I may be swapping Monopoly money for different Monopoly money, and we'll see what happens. That's what it is for me.
Makes perfect sense.
And on the flip side, guys, like if I can get Javonte for a late second and I'm a contender, and like say I have two strong running backs and my running back 3 is like James Conner, right? And like James Conner, I felt really good about going to season, but now all the talk about Trey Benson being like a 50-50 split, we kind of saw already week 1 a 50-50 split. I kind of predict Trey Benson overtaking him at some point. Like then I'm a little worried about my running back 3. Like if I can give up a late second for Javonte, they completely flip the script. Like that's something I'm willing to gamble on, like take the risk on. Like, okay, here's pick 23, 24. Give me a guy who's just going to get some touches almost guaranteed if he's healthy in an NFL backfield. And that's Javonte Williams.
All right, that was our number 3 riser of the week. Our number 2 riser of the week was a player that we're actually decently high on here at Dynasty Nerds, but I think overall shocked the NFL world in week 1 by having a scoring play on every single drive of the game, and that was Mr. Daniel Jones for the Indianapolis Colts. He is our number 2 riser of the week. Now, Rich, I know at one point you were president of the fan club of Daniel Jones. You since, took some time away, spent some more time with Dalton Kincaid and some other guys. But I know that there's still some heartstrings attached to Daniel Jones. So why is he a big riser for you? And I don't think we're going to see him score every drive, but is good fantasy football play sustainable for Daniel Jones?
Yeah. So Daniel Jones is what I got excited about the opportunity here with Daniel Jones was it was Shane Steichen's offense, right? Like we know what the Colts have been looking for from a quarterback. It's been a mobile quarterback. That's what they've been looking for. And somebody, going up before his ACL injury, like Daniel Jones was really an undervalued athletic running back. Like he ran the ball really well. Up until his ACL tear, he ran the ball, I think, on 10% of his carries. And now he only had 26 rushing yards this past week, but he still offers that, like, if you can give me 25, 26 yards per game, like that's some value. The extra 2.5 points could be the difference between you averaging about 17 points per game to about 20 points per game as a quarterback. So me in this offense, all he has to do is come in here with a strong running game and run a competent offense. And that's what he did week 1, right? Didn't do anything like crazy, try to like throw the ball extremely downfield. Like he came in there, ran the ball when he needed to run the ball, was 22 of 29 on his passing, had 3 touchdowns. He has Josh Downs, Michael Pittman as nice receivers, but the addition of Tyler Warren is really, really going to help this offense and be Daniel Jones' safety net with the run game that they have in Jonathan Taylor. So for me, same thing like where I said about Javonte Williams, like, whoa. Look what they did against like the Eagles without Jaylen Carter here. Those really weird red zone opportunities. Daniel Jones did this versus an atrocious Miami Dolphins defense, like arguably one of the worst defenses in the league. If you could probably make an argument where they're the worst. And their offense honestly didn't look too much better this week. But that being said, like I'm not gonna get overly excited about that. But I'll say this: when a player plays the defense like that, I expect them to do exactly what Daniel Jones did, and that was put up a very elite fantasy football performance. Right? Okay, elite, very good fantasy football performance.
29.5 points. That's a great game.
Yeah, great, very good. Whatever adjective you want to use, I just want to come back from elite. Elite's like when you put up that 50 burger, right? You're like,
sure.
Shit balls. Like, what's going on here? He just won me the game, like by himself. So, but it's very encouraging, right? Like sometimes we just kind of like a Sam Darnold, right? Coming in, a Geno Smith. Like I'm okay on a championship caliber team having a guy like Daniel Jones, if he could do something even relatively close to this as my quarterback too, because that means I'm getting top 50 overall fantasy football production from a scoring standpoint. We talk about in the show all the time, Jagger, where I say like, God, people are so quick to dismiss a guy like Daniel Jones or what Sam Darnold did last year saying, oh, he's just like quarterback 19, not realizing quarterback 19 is a top 60 overall fantasy football scorer, right? Yeah. That's a championship caliber player right there. So there's a lot of value to be had there. Now, there's a lot of people probably looking to rush to get any value they can from Danny Dimes, right? Like that's what they're like,
are you
oh
paying
my gosh.
it?
What's that?
Would you pay the price?
Well, you guys got to tell me what the price is. That's what we're here to kind of figure out. Like, if somehow I can get Danny Dimes on the year and say my quarterback is Russell Wilson, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just hit an iceberg and my ship's called the Titanic. Like, this is going to go bad quickly. It's Russell Wilson, my number 2 ship. Like, I need to make a move. Like, I would love to see it like a recent trade browser. Like, say Daniel Jones cost me and I'm a contender. I had to give up my first, but I get Daniel Jones in their second, something along those lines.
I saw that trade actually happen today. Somebody in the pre-show for Roster Rescue asked, somebody's offering me a first for Daniel Jones. Should I do it? And I said, I love Daniel Jones, but if you don't need him, I have no problem selling high on the case that he's no longer their starting quarterback in 6 weeks.
Oh, easy out, easy. I like what I saw, but I'm taking a first all day for Daniel Jones all day. But if somehow I can get something back on top of that, for like just a little bit on top. But like, if I need him to win and I'm going to pick 12 for a starting quarterback, like, can we all just assume that after what we saw, there's a 0.0% chance almost at this point without injury, Anthony Richardson's going back in at quarterback?
I don't see it because I haven't seen Anthony. Like, it's what you said. And I was the lowest on Daniel Jones here. And I'll give credit where it's due. I'm not even sucking up to the boss. You've made me come around to it, because it wasn't that I was negative on Daniel Jones. I'm like, the Dolphins aren't even a real team right now, but I haven't seen Anthony Richardson even perform or do just basic quarterback stuff. Like, okay, you have a wide open target on like a bootleg. Can you get the ball on time there on time? And legitimately, we haven't seen it. And Daniel Jones has done enough. And it's kind of like Sam Darnold. He may not be the reason that you're going to win. And this actually goes all the way back to the Colts, but he's not going to be the reason that you're losing. Anthony Richardson was the reason that you lost fantasy weeks and why the Colts were losing games. It's Jover, guys. It's Jover for Anthony Richardson.
No, I hear you. And you know what this reminds me of actually a lot? This reminds me of the Ryan Tannehill situation a ton. We have a former first-round quarterback that was a good athlete that didn't work out in his first stop, goes to a new team that's a run-first team with a really, really good running back to lead the way, and they just have to be really good managers, and they're fantasy relevant. And so I think this could very well. Now, the Ryan Tannehill thing didn't last forever. It was about a 3-year window in Tennessee, but he had 2 top 12 finishes in his time at Tennessee. So this very well could be one of those situations where it's ugly and you don't love it, but you're like, Daniel Jones did get me quarterback 11 points this year. Like, I'm not too upset about that.
And let me give you two names I mentioned before. It was Sam Darnold and Geno Smith were reclamation projects last year. Names that came in and kind of helped your fantasy teams. Sam Darnold finishes the 14th highest score last year, and Geno Smith was the 23rd overall scorer in PPR leagues. That's the kind of upside that you get from a guy like Daniel Jones. So if you can get that, and you're telling me that is not worth your 12th overall pick in a weaker projected class next year to get your name on the championship trophy, then I don't know what is. Like, yeah, it's a gamble, but Daniel Jones can walk himself right into an extension, not a big term extension. We saw Sam Darnold get signed in Seattle, and we saw Geno Smith go and get an extension in Las Vegas. Teams need quarterback play. If he plays like this, the Colts won't have a pick high enough to draft a quarterback. They might give him one of those bogus 3-year deals too, where it's almost like a 1.5 year guaranteed money that didn't get out of, but like something along those lines. And he has a little bit of insulation there for him. So put some weapons around him. Let him run this offense. Real excited. A player I'm going to be paying really close attention to week 2 against, again, an actual NFL defense. But for me, I'm buying. I don't love giving up a first, but if I need a quarterback, right? Like if I need a quarterback, Here's one. Okay, here's one for you guys. I'm gonna give you guys an option to pick. Say these are the only quarterbacks available. Both big risks. Going off we saw week 1. Both want a 26 first from you. It's gonna be a late first. Your team's really good, but you just need that second quarterback. Bryce Young or Daniel Jones.
Man,
I don't believe in Bryce Young, so it's Jones for me.
So you got to pick one for just this. Like you have to
Jones
pick one.
for me. Yeah.
I was about to say, you put the gun to my head, and I was just like, Daniel Jones, like that's how it felt, because we were talking pre-show where I was like, man, if we wanted to un-SEO this show, we could arguably just do like, what teams do I don't believe in anymore? And it's the Panthers panic alert. Like Bryce Young ain't it. The Jaguars don't have a good defense. That game should have been arguably both sides disappointed. Both teams lost that game, in my opinion, because there should have been 60 points put up, and neither side did that. I'd probably take Daniel Jones just because I've seen it. Bryce Young, I've seen a couple of flashes. And what did we get now? Not enough. Andy Dalton, is he a pickup now?
We'll see. Again, it's week 1. I don't overreact that drastically to somebody doing bad. That's like, Jalen Hurts threw the ball real low. That's like Joe Burrow did terrible versus Cleveland out there. A lot of low throw percentages by some quarterbacks, even the big names, the Hurts, the Burrows out there in week 1. But yeah,
Dak Prescott had an amazing game, but the numbers didn't reflect it.
Oh yeah, totally bogus out there.
Yeah. I think it's the offensive line plague, man. I just think that these Myles Garrett, the offensive lines can't keep up right now, and the NFL draft isn't putting them out there because I feel like we're getting lower and lower offenses and more sack records getting broken.
Yeah, some really good defensive ends out there. And going with the Daniel Jones, this isn't me saying go pay a first for Daniel Jones. Be creative out there. I guarantee you probably have some young rookie, like we mentioned Jaden Blue. Any of these young running backs that are probably more likely backups, but really good names out there. Like a Bashal Tutin, something along those lines. Hey, here's this player and a second. Right. So essentially given 2 seconds, like the player you took like late in your second round last year. Here's this player in my second and 2 seconds for Daniel Jones. Maybe you're overloaded at receiver or tight end. There's probably a way for you to finagle a Daniel Jones trade because of his depressed value and people want to get out from this big time game versus a terrible Dolphins defense. So you don't have to pay a first. I'm just telling you how far I would go.
I get it. Let's go to our number 1 riser of the week. And here's a player that, the narrative, and we talked about it too, after the draft was, hey, he's going to have to be on the Jackson Smith and Jigba / Romo Dunze train where it's going to be maybe a slower start, but we really believe in the player. As a podcast, he was our number 2 receiver off the board, but be patient. Well, we lied. You didn't have to be patient for Emeka Egbuka. He had 2 touchdowns, including the game-winning score in week 1. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 67 yards. He was our number 1 riser of the week. Jagger, we talked a lot about this guy in the prospect process, but I would love to hear your thoughts on Emeka Egbuka overall and why he was your number 1 riser.
Man, you put me on the spot on a big podcast. I got this one wrong, fellas. I got this one wrong.
I set you up.
Man. Yeah, I got this one 100% wrong. And I said that there's a lot to love, but Emeka Egbuka may be a better football player than he is a fantasy player. That was wrong. And I think this is 2 things where I compared him to Rashee Rice, where people were saying, well, no, he's going to be Justin Jefferson good. And I'm like, I'm not sure if it's there. But when you go to the perfect spot, like you do, like match made in heaven, that doesn't matter. This guy is going to get 10 targets, probably the rest of his career, as long as he's healthy. Because we've seen that with Chris Godwin. People forgot that Chris Godwin was a wide receiver too there for a little bit. Mike Evans isn't going to last forever. Chris Godwin isn't going to last forever. They spent a first on him, and I'm doing the thing that a lot of, especially Dynasty bros, get wrong, is I started adjusting right away super fast. It was an immediate one where I'm even willing to buy high. It's not I missed the boat, and I still think right now that you should buy high on him. Let's put it this way. Even before week 1, I was trying to send A.J. Brown straight across for Emeka Egbuka. Still would. Oh, yeah. That seems even better now,
Yeah, after week 1 for sure. Absolutely.
there's a clear saying I have, Jagger, is what's an overpay today is an underpay tomorrow. I've been saying that for 12 years. Like we were clearly different in the pre-draft process because this is a player that I said Emeka was the safest receiver in this draft. And my comp to him was Chris Godwin, which is kind of funny that he ended up on the Bucs. And you mentioned, forget that Chris Godwin was wide receiver too. Our audience can't forget, because I've been pounding now for months that Chris Godwin was actually the wide receiver 1 overall until he got hurt, except for the week before. And Jamar Chase passed him by I think less than a point at that point as wide receiver 1 overall. So yes, love the player. I would easily pay AJ Brown for Emeka Egbuka at this point. Cause you're right. You're like, how's the guy such a big riser when you guys have been talking him up and he's been all over X or Twitter or anywhere else I catch media forever now. It's because, it's easy to talk it up about what could happen, but when you see it happen in the game, it gets you excited. Now, I do need to see a little bit more, because you mentioned the 10 targets per game. He only saw 6 targets. He caught 4 of them. That 4th one was at the very end of the game winner, big time catch. And that's fine, right? Because the way the game script went, it was weird. Bucky Irvin's stat, Bucky Irvin looked really good, but his stat line's not going to really show for his usage too. I think the big thing here is how much Emeka was on the field, which was really nice there for him. But yeah, I mean, this is somebody who could see if he can continue this up. It's going to be weird because there might be some kind of dip at some point. I don't know if now's the time to buy Emeka. They said Chris Godwin's going to come back week 6. I don't know what's going to happen because they gave.
Could it
Chris
be too
Godwin
late to buy him by then, though?
I know that's what's kind of weird. But dude, Godwin's coming back. They paid Godwin this offseason. He's got X amount of money guaranteed. They gave him a 3-year, whatever, big time deal. Godwin's playing. He's not just
for sure.
Hey guys, I'm back.
But sometimes you have those situations where, hey, we drafted Justin Jefferson. I know Adam Thielen's here, but Justin Jefferson immediately becomes the guy. Mm-hmm. Hey, we have T. Higgins, but we drafted Jamar Chase. He's going to it might just be one of those trajectories where, there's some good vets here, but welcome to the back seat.
That's where I'm at. And I'll just give you one question then. Rich, I'm going to you as godfather of the Egbuka fan club at this point to see how far, if I've jumped the shark. I have an Amon-Ra St. Brown share that I want to move because I'm really solid at wide receiver and I'd rather sell high now. What would it take for you to move Amon-Ra St. Brown for Emeka Egbuka?
I would want Emeka in a first.
That high still. I thought, because I would do that. To me, that's the ultimate win. I'd come back, sitting in every group chat, I'd post a picture, blow it up on my wall that I could, if I get a first and Emeka Egbuka for Amon-Ra, that's how high I am. So I think I've almost jumped the shark.
And it's funny too,
fair.
Because that was, when we were talking about players comps, I was talking about him being a Jackson Smith and Jigba, Amon-Ra type of player where there's not one skill set that he has that is super elite as far as physical attributes, but does everything right, is always in the right spot, has great body control, strong hands. So he does all of those little things right. So I would love to make that deal. Honestly, I might even, if I had Amon-Ra, I might even be willing to say I'll take Emeka and 2 seconds or something like that. I would be I'd be trying to figure out a way to get that move done because I do believe in Emeka Egbuka quite a bit.
Yeah. And Amon's a weird one too, because listen, he's 26 years old. He's been a top 7 fantasy scorer year in, year out. So he's an elite dynasty asset. Amon's a little weird though too, because I'm with you, Garrett. I don't think the seconds are too far off. I want to come out and ask for the first because, again, going off week 1, we mentioned quarterbacks that threw the ball a lot less than normally do. Jared Goff falls in that role as well. With no Ben Johnson, they threw the ball way less. It looks like they're going to lean on the run a little bit more. They just signed Jameson Williams to that extension. Isaac Tessa looks solid in his role as a wide receiver 3. They still have Sam Laporta there, who had a nice solid game there as well. So, this could be a step back because of the new offense, because I'm up for Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he's a weird one. I probably I probably wouldn't mind taking 2 seconds and be okay with it because it's like a lateral move to get a little bit younger. I love the AJ Brown comp you said. Like, obviously now after AJ Brown's coming off a week where like he didn't do anything.
Had he put up 32 points, you'd feel like, oh, I don't know about that.
But listen, Garrett, we all know this is, again, every dynasty league is its own ecosystem because I go two ways, right? One, people could be like, oh, this chump over here is trying to panic because AJ Brown had one bad week one. He's selling me just for a rookie, Emeka, who only had 4 catches and his good week because he had 2 touchdowns, and that's why this guy's a chump. Yeah, easy, I'll flip AJ Brown. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird how like the minds can work. Every league's gonna be different because I'm the same way. Like, if somebody's like, hey, I'll give you AJ Brown, I'm like, is there any picks behind you? Because I have no interest whatsoever. I'd much rather have Emeka. But somebody else could easily think AJ Brown's the win there, right? Like it's on you as a dynasty owner to kind of like navigate your league and find where that value is. Because he mentions AJ Brown. People might be, let's flip the script, right? Maybe people were so in on Emeka, we're like, hey, can I get like, is there a path there where I give up a little more to get CeeDee Lamb? People are a little like, what other receivers are
this
down?
Is where we have
week?
to check our emotions too, because week 1 can get us so excited. You know, we can get so excited and easily and quickly forget how good other players are. So, yes, I love Emeka and I'm making deals to try to get him, but I am going to be a little bit hesitant because I don't want to just jump the gun too quickly and be like, dude, I just gave up some absolute trusted studs for a maybe. Like, that's a tough spot to be in. So let's move to our fallers. We have 5 fallers here. We started off optimistic and you know, we're real excited, but there were some guys that really disappointed us in week 1. So the 2 guys that did not make the list, but are the honorable mentions are CJ Stroud. Team did not score a touchdown at all. 3 field goals in that game. He was 19 for 27, 188 yards and a pick. And then Isaiah Pacheco only had 4.8 fantasy points, only 5 attempts, 2 receptions, and in a true timeshare seemingly with Kareem Hunt. And he didn't get any touches, but Brashard Smith was on the field a decent amount too. I saw him out there. So I'd be curious to see how that ends up playing out long term. So those 2 guys didn't make the cut, but our number 3 faller candidate.
Oh, Garrett, before we say those, again, week 1, don't get excited, but don't miss your opportunity for humble brags. 2 players I aggressively said I would be selling in Dynasty. Pacheco is my number 1, which I said I would take almost anything for. And then CJ Stroud's been a sell now for 18 months and counting. So
that's true. Yeah, we've been talking about him for a long time.
Our guys offensive line did him no favors whatsoever, though.
You know what? Real quick, too, before I announce our faller candidates, I should tell you guys real quickly about FastDraft. FastDraft, an amazing partner that we have here at Dynasty Nerds. And if you head over there, they've got a ton of in-season games that you can play. Obviously, all the off-season stuff's done, but in-season tournaments that you can absolutely go and dominate. It's still a smaller startup, so you don't have a lot of the sharks and stuff over there yet. And best of all, if you use promo code NERDS, that's right, use promo code NERDS, we're going to double your deposit match up to $100. On top of that, if you want everything we have at Dynasty Nerds, extra podcasts, the film room, the GM, which is the greatest way to evaluate your team and have somebody else kind of say, hey, you're good, or actually, you know what? You suck. You don't realize that you don't have a talented running back. You can do that over at dynastynerds.com, and we'll give you that absolutely free when you use the promo code NERDS at your FastDraft checkout. So do that today. Our number 3 faller, Tua Tagovailoa, there for the Miami Dolphins. We had all ranked. Actually, our fallers were identical. We were a little bit all over the place with our risers, but our fallers, we were exactly in step, all 3 of us. So he was number 3 for us, 7.3 fantasy points. He was only 14 for 23, 114 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and that touchdown was all Devon Achane. He did all the work there. That was not Tua. Tua also had a fumble on top of that. That whole offense looked like a mess. And granted, Indy's okay, but they're not a juggernaut on the defensive side of the football. We're not talking about the 85 Bears or anything like that. So, Rich, tell us about why you're concerned about Tua.
Dude, I am concerned about the entire Miami Dolphins organization. So what makes me concerned about Tua is this looks like it's ready to, like, Mike McDaniels looks like he might be, if this goes in this way, he's gonna be the first person fired. We could be looking at a complete blow up here. If that's a case, we're going to see Tyreek Hill traded, complete blow up here, system change. This offense is completely predicated on speed, motion. That's what I love for Devon Achane. But with Tua and that contract, this would be a contract they're looking to get out from. I don't look at anybody's rushing to sign Tua. He looked a mess. He looked confused. And listen, guys, they've been in this offense now for 3 years, like over 3 years. Like they have, like, what is going on here where like everything looks so bad and discombobulated? Like they weren't able to do anything. You mentioned 2 interceptions, a fumble by Tua, 114 yards. And like you mentioned, without Devon Achane, this looks like a Pee Wee League football game, right? Mm-hmm. Like first league tackle. Like what is going on here? A mess on defense. We were kind of like excited, like, okay, we're going to see some big step ups here from the Miami's Dolphins offense, at least because they're going to be playing from a negative game script at all times. Tua is only a couple years removed from leading the league in passing yards. Jaylen Waddle was a wide receiver one. Like we look for a big step forward, but all we got was just a big, hot, sloppy mess. It's like somebody handed you a sloppy Joe sandwich with no bun. Like what is going on here? This is just a big wet thing of meat I have in my hands, and I don't even know what I can make of it because nothing's sticking together. And that's what we have. One disgusting piece of sloppy Joe, and that's what Tua Tagovailoa. And listen, quarterbacks, like they always say, they get all the blame and they get all the glory. And it's all going to come down to Tua here. And honestly, after week 1, I don't even know what to say because it looks so bad. I'm hoping one of you could explain to me because I couldn't understand what I saw out there. Like it was that bad. Like if you take away like what Tyreek had like one decent catch and like outside of Achane catching the football, they literally had nothing going whatsoever. I mean, Jagger, what did you see out there with Tua? Like it's like I have a concussion just from watching that thing.
I'm having trouble topping you because I was just like, man, homie's cooking. And what's funny, I'm going to keep with that analogy. I was like, he sounds like Gordon Ramsay. He just eat the worst meal ever because you're 100% right, dude. It was just terrible out there. Like the one nugget, the piece of corn and whatever turd this offense was Devon Achane, and you have to think that this is like a fire sale, just a mass sell. I mean that literally Miami should, sell all these old assets, reset from the top down. I don't, like, to me, I'm at the point where I just want anything out of Tyreek Hill. I don't know. I'll give you guys, I have like this irrational dynasty rule now, or just fantasy rule. As soon as a player starts doing podcasts, I'm done with you. If you start doing more podcasts in the offseason than you're training, I don't want you anymore. So like all this is what I expected to happen at a Tyreek Hill. And the quarterback gets the blame. It's Mike McDaniel. I don't think you were on at this point, but I want to start editing in the Seinfeld bass music every time Mike McDaniel goes up to talk because it's just not cute anymore. Making all those jokes when your team's that bad. It's hard to want any part of this. And I think the Dolphins are going to get a lot of people in trouble because you're like, well, if they get it going, Tyreek Hill had 2,000 yards that one year,
Yeah.
That's a good example of Mike McDaniel too, and the cuteness, Jagger, because like, you're right. I think he falls into the line of like, really good offensive coordinator, really good, real good, smart offensive mind. Probably not the best fit to be a head coach. Cause like, it looks like he can't it's like the inmates are run the asylum.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yep. He's not a leader of men, as the old people would say, as old dudes would say.
That's right. Us old dudes over here. I'm 100% with you guys. It is a mess. I do think we're going to be looking at the nuke button here really, really quickly. And there might not be many pieces that survive. There's going to be a lot of, and honestly, that might be good for the other pieces that move to other places. It might be good news for them as well. So we'll kind of have to wait and see. Hey, Nerd Herd, want to tell you about a show that we've been doing live on YouTube where we go over your teams and we talk about how to fix your broken roster. It's called Roster Rescue. We do it live every single Monday at noon Eastern time. And if you want to get a part of that, just head to our Dynasty Nerds homepage, go under the store tab, and you'll find Roster Rescue right there. Perfect opportunity to get your rosters in shape before the season or even in the middle of the season to make sure that you can win a championship. This one was a bit of a surprise because there was a lot of hype from his own coaching staff about this player coming into the season. but Kenneth Walker is our number 2 faller this week. We all had him in the same spot. He, he was always the lead back, and then there was always the Charbonnet hive. That's like, hey, Charbonnet's really good. We want to see him get more touches. We want to see him get more run. And that's kind of what happened last year, but it was due to injury, right? It was due to Kenneth Walker being banged up and hurt. And so we saw a lot more yards per carry out of a Zach Charbonnet. Well, even though Zach Charbonnet didn't have a great game, he still out-touched and had a higher yards per carry once again than Kenneth Walker. He also got the goal line carry to get the touchdown. Kenneth Walker only 5.4 fantasy points. And this is to the point for me where I'm really concerned because we have a player that has a hard time staying healthy. And now at best case scenario is in a true timeshare. It's not a like, well, it's a 1A, but then a 1B. No, it's a true timeshare looking like at this point. And Zach Charbonnet just turn for turn over the past year in one game. I get it's only one game, but it's all what we saw last year too, has just been a little bit better. So Rich, for you right now, how concerned are you about Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, really concerned. What's going on? We hear, but we kind of talked about this on the roster rescue because you're like, who's my number one red flag player? And I said Kenneth Walker. So I've been sitting here for the last hour and a half thinking about that as I was thinking about doing the show. And I'm like, I went back and looked at the numbers. I went back and went over the drives that they had. Walker came in and they were just pretty much like 3 and out every single time. And Charbonnet had the 2 drives, just 2 scoring drives. But like Charbonnet wasn't overly great either in his touches. And then I went back and looked at, okay, what are we doing anything here in the passing down? And, Walker had some target share. I think it was a little over 10% on the target share. Charbonnet had no targets whatsoever. And they talked up Walker so much in the preseason. Like, we're going to run this offense through Kenneth Walker. And normally it's like, what we've seen is like Walker gets like 80% of like the running back share. And like Charbonnet gets like the other 20% when Walker's healthy. And this year it was like 50-50, not like a little less than 50. I think Charbonnet got, when it came to like the backfield, like the share of the backfield was like a little over 50%, if I recall. So I'm thinking of this 2 ways. Like, is this how it's going to be? Right. Cause like, it wasn't like Charbonnet was like great. He was fine. But again, he had, besides that one, in the first half, that one long scoring drive they had, nothing else really came of it. Or is like Kenneth Walker was banged up this preseason, right? They didn't use him tons. So like, is this something going on with that? Like, are they still like letting Kenneth, like, are they going to ease Kenneth Walker back in to be the guy so they have him? If that's the situation, if that's the situation, this might be a buy low moment. But like, this is like a true gamble for me because I don't know. Because if it is a 50-50 split, like dead in the water almost. Like, I don't want any running back to split and carries 50-50, unless they're pass catcher running backs. Like we talked about earlier, like I'll take Dylan Sampson at a 35% role. If that's the role he's going to play in that offense, to be the pass catcher running back and score that many points per game and finishes like running back 18-24. Like I'll take that on my roster. I'm getting Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet is more like ground and pound than no thanks. But again, is slight more encouragement there because Kenneth Walker was the one utilized in the passing game. So I am concerned, right? Like I'm definitely a concern level here, but like there's a part of me going, well, is it like a part of the preseason where like there's going to kind of, he didn't get a lot of work. He didn't get a lot of practice time because he was banged up as well. And we're like, here we are. Kenneth Walker hurt again, right? At least it's not a core injury. Is this kind of them easing back up? Is this like a buy window for Kenneth Walker? Because I am worried. Like, and I ranked him number 1. So, but there's a part of me going, ooh, is anybody else like super worried? Can I get Kenneth Walker for 2 seconds? Like, is that like
that's the cost I would pay? I was like, I can't do a first.
No, me neither.
But if I could do some seconds, I would do it because like it's funny. I looked at the tape as well. It's all about what you want out of a player. I think it's going to be game script. Kenneth Walker will get some of the passing downs, but people forget that the 49ers have Bob Saleh back, and that's just a stout buzzsaw stacked front 7 all the time. And I think they're just going to be boom bust games. So I think it's somewhere in the middle to where, yeah, you should buy him, but don't buy Kenneth Walker expecting to have this top 5 running back, but maybe like a boom bust RB2 that Zach Charbonnet will be a vulture, and that's gross. The more I say it, it's like, yeah, I think if you drafted Kenneth Walker at his price at any point lately in the last season, or if you bought him, it's probably too high.
And for me, honestly, I would still be willing to sell at the 2 seconds, even if that's like, hey, that's the value that I'm kind of looking to get. I'm okay with, like, I want off this train. I do. We've never seen Kenneth Walker be a running back one. He's always banged up. He's sharing time with a running back that was a second round running back as well. Like, I want off the train overall. So if I have him and I can sell him for 2 seconds, awesome. Even if I'm a contender, I'll use those seconds to go get me an old running back that
Javonte.
Yeah, go give me a couple years or something. Like honestly, I know he balled out last night, so his cost shot up. But like, there's a world where you could have maybe bought a Derrick Henry for 2 seconds before last night. Like, there's a world where you can get some of an Alvin Kamara, where I just feel safer about these guys, even if I might lose a year or two. If I'm a contender, I just want off the train.
Dude, and Derrick Henry, talking about Pee Wee football. I mean, just like he was playing Pee Wee football again. Like, dude, just like those Bills safeties were like literally toddlers trying to tackle Derrick Henry, a beast. And Garrett, going back to your take, I respect that. Like and I unloaded all my Kenneth Walker shares last year because that's how I kind of felt that was going that way last year. Like I told you when Rashee Rice got hurt, I gave up Kenneth Walker for Rashee Rice. Like he was like a perfect, like, who's hurt? Who can I get that's not playing for Kenneth Walker, who's playing right now, who eventually hurt? And I'm with, and Jagger, you're right. Like 2 seconds seems like it's a fair price to pay, right? Like I understand wanting to get 2 seconds, but like I'm also in the same thing with like Garrett. Like, okay, I could pay 2 seconds for Kenneth Walker, or I could probably give up a second for Javonte, or give up a second and a third for Aaron Jones. We'll see how that plays out tonight with Jordan Mason.
Or Jordan Mason, like, or just Jordan, like Jordan Mason.
Jordan Mason, like straight up.
Here's a third. Give me Jordan Mason.
Yeah, so it's like I'm with you. Like I don't know. Like here's what I would say. I would probably rather wait and see if Kenneth Walker is stringing together what we thought he was going to be, which is the main workhorse there in Seattle, and pay a first if I really need him, showing they could be really good, then paying 2 seconds and hope that it's not like what we saw it with Zach Charbonnet. So that's what, to me, that's why. And again, I said what I said is that like, oh, this is why he's going to be good. It brought back me a little bit from the cliff when I said, Garrett, like he's the number one red flag player I saw over the weekend. You know, like other people that failed, like it is what it is week one. Like I'm not worried. Are we worried about Jamar Chase? You know, his biological father, Denzel Ward, owned him again. You know, are we worried about AJ Brown? I mean, you know, I'm worried about that passing offense a little bit, like not any great concerns, you know?
Sure.
Are we worried about Tua? Yeah, that's why he's on the list. But man, I'm way more worried about like Kenneth Walker. Like if you had Kenneth Walker, like you were relying on him. Like if you're going to championship caliber team, you know, which is anytime you're talking running backs, right? Outside the elite guys, if you're not a contender, what are you doing with these running backs on your roster? Like you shouldn't have running backs on your roster unless you're the Bijans, Achans, the Trevions, you know, the Caleb Johnsons. You got to sit there and go, oh, I hope it gets better.
What a transition. Our number one follower of the week is Kaleb Johnson. We all ranked him as the top follower. Now, for me in the pre-draft process, overall as a podcast, and myself included, we were not big Kaleb Johnson guys. We had him outside of our top 5. Now, granted, one of the guys we snuck in above him was Cam Scatterby. He did not look great. But I was
Dylan Sampson. Don't forget Dylan Sampson, son.
Dylan Sampson was, hey, you and I were in on him. That's right. So we had some of these guys up there. That being said, I warmed up to him. I did. I warmed up to Kaleb Johnson in the offseason. I'm like, you know what? It's the Steelers offense. He really fits that mold really well. You know, maybe it's not going to be so bad. Well, we never even got really a chance to see if it was going to be so bad because the Steelers were like, we're going to let you marinate for a little bit. We're going to let you sit here and think about your actions. So Kaleb Johnson, he only had 1 touch in the game, and it was a negative 2-yard run. Now, obviously, we can't do much with that one play. Like, we're overreacting a little bit to 1 week. I can't overreact to one play. But that being said, the biggest concern was we have a Kenneth Gainwell and a Jaylen Warren, and neither one of these guys are generational backs. These are both undersized guys that are good players, but no team right now is saying like, this is my 3-down workhorse if they can help it. So for him to be sitting and not really even getting a sniff of an opportunity is a big concern for me. That definitely drops him in value, I think, in the eyes of the community quite a bit. But that being said, Jagger, I'm willing, if people are truly panicked, I'm willing to like slip in there and see like, how bad are you panicking? Because I might be willing to buy, especially on a rebuild or something like that, where I can sit and wait and just figure out.
Garrett, you told my whole life story on Kaleb Johnson. I got heat
really
all last season because I was like, Kaleb Johnson, they're like, he's the RB2. I'm like, not as long as Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson are alive. I don't think so, and they got a lot of heat for it. And then he goes in the combine and he's exactly the player I thought he is. I'm like, wow, he looks exactly like Najee Harris. Yeah. He's not super explosive, but I think he is useful. And he goes to the Steelers. I'm like, okay, that's a team who knows how to use Najee Harris's. So I'm okay paying that late price for him. That Arthur Smith, buddy, that guy, that guy over there is just a problem. It's his shadow realm where he likes to keep fun things for us to suffer. I'm willing to buy Kaleb Johnson with the expectation that nothing will change until the Steelers A, get rid of Arthur Smith, or B, realize that Mike Tomlin's time is over and then Arthur Smith is going to go anyway. It's just what is wrong with this man? I don't get it.
Rich, what do you think about this?
They just gave Jaylen Warren a contract extension this past week, and they came out. They kind of like want to make a point there with it. Aaron Rodgers looked good for, which I kind of expect him to versus the Jets. You want to make a statement. I mean, he had 136.7 passer rating and threw for 4 touchdowns. Yeah. This kind of reminds me of, and of course they, Johnny Smith had his 20% target share, of course, because Arthur Smith is there.
Yep.
This is kind of a lot what we saw out of a running back who ended up had a really good career later on in James Conner. A little bit mid-round draft capital, kind of brought him in, kind of slow rolled him a little bit into the offense. That's what I kind of expect with Kaleb. Like eventually they're going to have to rely as the weather changes too, and Aaron Rodgers gets hit a couple more times. They're going to have to rely on a run. We all know this team is taking a drastic turn in 2026 of which way they're going to go. They'll have a rookie quarterback or, a Daniel or some other quarterback on their roster outside of Aaron Jones, unless somehow he has so much fun because they made the playoffs. He plays one more year. He doesn't care. It's his last year. Kaleb Johnson is probably a player you're going to suffer and sit back with for a little bit, right? Like he's not going to come in and hit the ground running. He doesn't have the attributes that I love on tape. And again, that's why I had him at I think he's my 7th ranked running back, right around there, coming out amongst these rookies. I had Cam Scatterby and Dylan Sampson ranked ahead of him on the tape. And I'm with you, like Jagger. Some people are like, dude, you're crazy. He's RB2. And I'm like, I'm saying the thing with you. Like, have you watched, Quinshon Judkins? Like, have you watched Travion Henderson? Have you watched Mario and Hampton? What are you talking about? And then have you watched Cam Scatterby and Dylan Sampson? What I said on Kaleb Johnson, a fine young running back, right? Like who really benefited from the offense that he was in, but like not a big time player. Mm-hmm. But like he still has really good draft capital on a team that doesn't have a ton of offensive weapons. And you're right. Like I could see this team, if Aaron Rodgers like splits and Mike Tomlin's like, hey man, like I don't want to be a part of a big rebuild. I've never had a losing record in my entire career. Like, let's just agree to like go a different direction. You need a new coach in here willing to do all this. I want to still coach a good team. Somebody trades a 1st-round pick plus for Mike Tomlin, just like they did Sean Payton. And then the whole thing is kind of blown up, right? Like there. And then Kaleb Johnson has a significant role. I'm going to go ahead and let this simmer and poke down. These are the kind of players that like, I love to buy like week 6, week 7. They haven't really done a whole lot, and people spend a 1st-round pick on them, and then all of a sudden I'm getting them for a 26 second, like a 2nd-round pick. Like, okay, that's a gamble for me. Like, but not all players I want to, and I'll see where Kaleb Johnson is there. But I might be willing to invest in Kaleb Johnson. Right around week 5, was not doing anything, give up a 2nd, maybe even like a meaningless pick, like a 4th. But like we saw, kind of going back to this, like we saw what they did. Obviously Najee was a 1st-round pick, so he doesn't count, right? But like under Tomlin's regime, they did the same thing with James Conner. Was it James Conner like a 3rd round pick somewhere around there, maybe a little bit later? Kind of like, and I know they had Le'Veon Bell there at the time as well, but same thing.
The thing that helped him was I think that was the year that Lev Bell held out, and that's why James Conner ended up rising to superstardom.
But the thing is, I don't see Jaylen Warren as like, if the Steelers want to go where they want to go, definitely the season progresses, as a 3-down running back, right? Like I don't, and listen, they have Kenneth Gainwell there who they use as well. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell is not a big,
that's
powerful
not real.
running back.
They can't be real.
It's not real either. So like, I just think this is a week 1, doesn't look good on paper, but let's go ahead and pump the brakes a little bit. I think the true value of Kaleb Johnson will show itself later. I'm not like, I have Kaleb Johnson shares, and I'm not like overly worried at this point. I'm like, oh, that sucks, but
yeah,
that's
you want
okay.
to see him play, but it is what it is. Rich, we're running tight on time here, but we did want to cover some of the significant injuries. You want to run down some of these guys that are injured and tell us which ones we should be concerned about and if there's anything to do about it.
All right, let me get on my list here. I got to go to the injuries here. So Xavier Worthy, have we heard anything about his shoulder yet?
Dislocated.
So, yeah, it sounds like it's dislocated. Average missed time is about 3 weeks, and there's a pretty high re-injury rate on those. It's about 50% re-injury rate. So that is concerning for a team that's already missing some pass catchers. Yeah,
because a lot of times when you dislocate your shoulder, there's a high chance you get some labrum tear in there as well. Depends on the severity of it. And listen, I got it, man. Like Travis Kelce's like, hey, everybody's saying I'm done in fantasy. Like I'm gonna take out my competition. I get it, dude. I get it. Like nobody's gonna mess with you. You got all those little Taylor Swift fans got your back. Like you're good. You can take out whoever you want. So that hurts. Obviously, Hollywood Brown had a good game. Takes a big step up there, and he should be the guy until week 7. Right?
One guy I'm keeping an eye on with all of this with Rashee Rice.
Jaylen Royals.
It's Jaylen Royals. That's a guy I'm keeping an eye on. Injured before week 1, so he wasn't able to, but he was getting a lot of pub in camp, was running with the ones quite a bit in that Rashee Rice role. So just keeping an eye out just in case.
All right. Now, George Kittle's got a hamstring. We haven't heard how much time he's going to miss, but usually it's about 2 to 3 weeks, which is no bueno at all. Great for Ricky Pearsall, who looked really good on his limited opportunity, looked really good.
I was so bummed because that first drive, he comes out catching a bunch of passes, scoring a touchdown. I was like, dude, my hot take's going to come correct. Like he's about to break the record for most fantasy points by a tight end in a season. And then he gets hurt right away. And I was like, dang it.
I hope it's not a bad hamstring. I hope it's just like
a tweak.
They were like, tweak, and they want to be safe with it. So we'll see. Unfortunately, dude, we're going through these injuries. this is my second podcast today. So I haven't been able to dive. I've been doing notes on podcasts. I haven't dived into injuries. I don't know the severity of Drake London. I don't know the severity of Evan Ingram. I don't know Brock Bowers is fine. I know he tweeted anybody said he's fine. I saw that.
Not serious.
And Jawan Jennings, I haven't heard. I know they signed Kendrick Bourne today, but I haven't heard anything about the cap besides he signs that new contractor deal, and I just assumed that his cap was fine because they gave him $3 million.
Honestly, these are all big name guys. There's not going to be a lot that you're going to be able to do, even if they're out. Jagger, is there any one of these players here that, other than dang, that sucks, I got to put next guy up in my fantasy team? Is there any movement on these teams that are even going to be relevant for you fantasy wise?
Not really. I know I'm pretty low on Xavier Worthy. So if there's someone who thinks that they're going to buy low on Xavier Worthy, I actually think that you're going to sell high. I would cut your losses on him because you guys nailed it. I told everyone that the only reason Xavier Worthy had the season he had is by necessity, and the Chiefs have fixed that. Hollywood Brown's back. Jaylen Royals is there. So, and I would be surprised if they even go bring in someone else because Juju Smith-Schuster is still relevant somehow in this year of our Lord 2025. So that's one I'm really concerned about.
Yeah, absolutely. Evan Ingram's the other one that I do want to keep an eye on because Drake London's Drake London. You're not replacing him. Yeah, they have Kadarius Hodge or whatever, but sounds like it's only day to day, not too concerning. But Evan Ingram's the one that I'm keeping an eye on. If it looks like this is something that's serious, this did look like he was going to play more of that Joker role. Now the entire Denver offense looked pretty bad in their first week, but this could be something for an RJ Harvey that could be maybe his opportunity to sneak into that Joker role if there's any significant time missed. So that would be the one piece of all of this that I would just kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely use RJ Harvey in the passing game where he's dynamic. They didn't want to use the passing game on third downs because it's pass protection, but he is dynamic in the passing game. Showed that today. Looked real electric, or yesterday electric with the ball in his hands with that big run as well. That'd be nice if they kind of move him out a little bit, and kind of utilize him in that passing role for an RJ Harvey. But I'm interested to dive in some more of these injuries. But you're right, like it doesn't seem like. Good news is no major injury week one, right? Like usually it's every week, like ACL tear, Achilles, torn body, like something. We got through week one. So now it's not over yet. But I hope I didn't jinx it. Be safe, Justin.
I was saying, so that happens to your boy, JJ McCarthy. Oh, you're going to be so upset.
I'll take full responsibility. That's okay. Throw all your pebbles. No rocks, please.
All right. Well, I think that wraps up the show, man.
Yeah.
Oh, so much content, so many podcasts. I've done 2 today. I got to do 2 tomorrow.
Yep. That's show business, baby.
That is. Jagger, it's been a pleasure do our first show together. Garrett, thanks for getting us all together. And we'll be back where our next show comes out on Wednesday, though, even though we record tomorrow, right?
Correct. Yeah, it'll come out on Wednesday for them.
So we have a show Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Tune in. Go JJ McCarthy. Please prove me right tonight. And we'll be back with more Dynasty Fantasy Football.
See ya.